Hey guys, hey, this is Walt with American Bait Works and Halo Fishing. I'm here with Scott Canterbury from the Elite Series. Uh, we got him just as he got off the water from his practice up in Tennessee. How's that today?
It's tough. It's pretty tough. I mean, we knew the water was going to be cold getting up here, but it's a little. I mean, it's not as cold as I thought it was going to be. But we had storms all morning until about 10 o'clock, so I think that messed it up a little bit and got a late start because of that. So we'll figure something out. It's all right. We're going to catch some.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I was at Gunnersville this weekend and the water temperature was 41, so that's always fun.
That's weird. We're what am I three lakes above there or something? And we're at Loudon, and the water's actually 45, 46, 45 in that range up here. I don't know. I don't understand all that sometimes how it can get colder when you go further down, but because they've had a lot of ice up here. It's weird. I guess it's just coming out of the lake above there. It's coming out of the bottom.
Yeah, I don't know. I know it was tough over there with that 41-degree water temperature and about 1 million pounds of eelgrass. So
Yeah. Yeah. Eelgrass is not my friend on that lake, but it's different. I mean, we don't have grass here. It's a Tennessee River lake, but we don't have grass to fish. Can go to Tellico where it's really clear and fish. And that may be my plan. I'm just got to keep getting after it. We stayed out there till dark today because we got a little bit of late start this morning. So we'll figure out something before it's over. We've got a couple more days of practice.
So what day do you start?
The tournament starts Thursday. Bassmaster starts on Thursday, and we're going to have a couple of really good warm days with the sun. I think that's going to help those fish maybe move up a little bit. I think it's going to fish pretty small. We're where the Classic was in 2018, I guess. Up here, we're going out of Knoxville, and I mean, they had 50 in it, and I thought it fished really small for them with 50. Now that we got 100, I don't know. It's really going to be tight. So you're going to have to be on something, trying to find something a little bit off the path today, and maybe go look at some of that more community stuff tomorrow.
Right. Yeah, well, that's good. Yeah, it's getting that time though. I mean, the warm weather will help your feelings, I'm sure. I don't know how much it'll help the fish, but it sure has been cold down here in the south for the last, I guess, week and a half, 2 weeks. I mean, we're down here on the coast and it got below 20. So, I mean, it's been cold.
You're right. It's been terrible. I mean, I just feel sad every time I think about the people in Texas, what they're going through with the whole state froze over. I mean, and you got snow all the way down to the Mexican border. I mean, it's crazy how that it was a winter storm that hit so far south. And like Stetson Blaylock in Arkansas said they had 20 inches, 20 and a half inches of snow. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, man. But yeah, I guess everybody's ready for this little warming trend. Looks like the warming trend's going to dip down and get those guys. And yeah, we're all ready for spring, I believe. So yeah, hopefully this week will be good for you guys. So, hey, I just wanted to talk a little bit. We were going to talk a little about the Canterbury Series Rods and Halo. That's a series that you and I worked together on a couple of years ago for a long time, and feel like we got it where we wanted it for a series of rods that now you can take that one series and put it in your boat and pretty much fish a tournament most anywhere with just that one series of rods. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's really, we've got a rod for just about everything. There's always a couple of actions on the other series that you could add in and stuff, but you can definitely take those rods, and they are, some of them are really unique. I really like them, and, I used them all year last year on the Elite Series, and you got a boat full of them and using them this year, and, there's ones that play at every tournament for sure. There's some that play at every tournament. And then there's specific ones that'll play at other tournaments that are not so versatile. There's a couple that's not so versatile that really will just play in specific tournaments. Like for instance, in the springtime, you got to have a good cranking rod. And I know you helped me out a lot with that rod. And here lately this winter, it's been one of my favorites, one of the ones that I really use a lot. And I got some friends that's ordered them and got them, and they really love that rod too. So, it's a phenomenal rod.
Yeah, that cranking rod is, after lay, we fished down there when it was freezing cold at lay, and that one didn't come out of my hand very much. That's what I used the entire time down there, and it was,
Yep.
it's an awesome little cranking rod, 7-foot cranking rod that, anything up to, 5XD style bait, that size bait, it works really good on. I mean, it's got a good
I threw
action.
the 5XD on it a lot last year. I sort of tell people anything up to about 10 foot deep. That 5XD is right on the verge of as big as you want to go with that rod, but it's awesome for any of that springtime cranking. Just like you was talking about in that Lay Lake Alabama Bass Trout Tournament, every fish that I caught came on that rod.
Yeah. Yeah, that was in my hand. I didn't hardly take it out, and it's an awesome rod, But a lot of them, the 610, the little short handle one that it's got lots and lots of places, So I got people down here on the coast buying them. They love them for jerk bait fishing. They love them for getting tied in with spinner baits. I mean, they like that little short handle. It's a cool rod.
Yeah, I love that rod. In my mind, I was building that rod for cranking, shallow cranking with maybe 2.0 styles, Bossa B2s, that a little bit heavier crankbait, target casting with it. But that rod's really versatile. I use it for a pop bar anytime I'm fishing top water, up tight to cover. Like you said, short cast and a spinner bait, it's awesome. And I've caught a lot of fish on it with a jerk bait too. So it's a really versatile rod. Like most of them in the lineup are pretty versatile, and that's one that's unique, having a 9-inch handle like that. But it's really come into play a lot for me.
Oh yeah, it's a good one. Down here, these guys are swimming a jig with it. They like that little short rod to swim a jig, and down on the coast here, it's those people down here are their whole style's a little different, and I've had to figure it all out. But they catch a bunch of fish on it. They love that little rod. I sell a bunch of them here, but we've done good, all through the southeast, and we're starting to catch hold up north with it. People are really liking that whole series.
Yeah, that you get to talking about swimming a jig, and I mean that's what I do a lot. There's Matt, my roommate, Scott Martin's in here, but I swim a jig with a 7.6 about all the time, and it's just the way that I do it, and it's the way I learn to do it, and the way that's what I'm comfortable with. And I like to be able to move a fish when I hit him with a swim jig. But I know a lot of people at Demopolis, that area, the Alabama River guys that use that 7.3 that I throw a chatterbait on. That's the one they use for a swim jig. And it works really good for swimming too. It's just a little bit lighter, a little bit shorter rod for making really good casting and stuff. So, they're both pretty much got the same action. We call them an extra medium heavy, where it's got a good soft tip for presentation, a good tip for letting the fish get the bait as you do on a chatterbait or a swim jig, and just a little bit lighter, being 3 inches shorter than the 7.6. People really like it. I use it a lot. Most time when I'm swimming a jig, I use the 7.6. I have went to it some, but if I'm throwing a chatterbait or something, I'm always using that 7.3. The only place I would deviate with that would be like a Tennessee River Lake, like Gunners or something, where you're not actually having to aim where you're casting. You just want to make long casts with a chatterbait or something. I would probably throw my chatterbait on that 7.6 if I was doing it on that open water grass fishing. But
Sure.
any other time, it's with that 7.3.
Yeah, that extra medium heavy action, it's pretty cool action, and just a little heavier than a medium heavy, but it's got a really good tip, and it's a super versatile action on a rod. The 7.6 and the 7.3 both, you can do a lot of things with it.
When the way I came up with that, and that's been we've got it in the titanium series too, and I actually had a big role in that because swimming a jig was something that I've always done, and we didn't have a rod for it. I took a 7.6 heavy titanium, and you'd swim a jig. I had Wes Logan swimming with that rod, and I was telling him you'd set the hook, and if it was just a 3-pounder, which is a good fish, but a 3-pounder, you would actually jerk him out of the water. He would come up out of the water when you set the hook, and a lot of times when the fish leaves the water like that, you got really good chance of him coming off and stuff. You needed something that loads up a little bit better, and I went to a 7.6 medium, which I like for like swim baits and stuff, and you couldn't get a hook in them. So we had to have something in between those two. So y'all came up with it. We call it the extra medium heavy, which is pretty unique in itself, but it's a really good action rod.
Right. So before this question gets off my screen, I'm gonna go ahead and answer this question, and you can help me answer it. So Chris Lynch, I guess we were talking about the 7-foot cranking rod, and he said his question was, is it for big crankbaits? And I would say big being over 10 feet, no, that wouldn't be the one for me. But you can answer that the way you want to.
Yeah, I would say no. I mean, we have a cranking series that is awesome. It's as good as any cranking series that I've ever felt. I mean, I actually fell in love with them years ago and really, really like them. JT Kenny helped develop them. I was a big part in that. And we have a 7-footer, but it's a glass rod. We got a 7.4 that I would use for that. I mean, I probably go to it on that 5XD series. Anything 12-foot or deeper, I like that 7.4. Got a 7.6. No, 710 medium.
We got two 7. Yeah, we got two 710s. Yeah.
Right. We got two of them. We got a medium heavy that I really, really like for 6XDs and things like that. But if I go to 8XD or 10XD, we got that 710 heavy, and it's awesome. It's a really, really good cranking rod, and that's in our cranking series. It's not in the Canterbury series. So it's one that you need to look at, Chris.
Yeah, and another one, we just came out with the HFX series. We just actually got them in this week. So it's our brand new rod, and we have a 7.6 medium heavy, and that one, that's a really good rod for anything up to the 8XD size. I'd say 10XD, I'd go with that big extra heavy one that we have, but up to an 8XD, that 7.6 will pull those pretty good. So if you want a graphite rod for crankbaits, that's an excellent one for that as well. Yeah, but I appreciate the question there.
I haven't felt that, Rod, but that's one thing that I even talked about. We needed something 7.4 or 7.6 for those little bit bigger crankbaits. That's good. I haven't felt that one.
So Stephen Tyson Jr. is asking, what do we have for an A-rig rod? Any suggestions in your series for an A-rig rod?
Well, maybe for those smaller, like if you're throwing a small A-rig, that 7.6 extra medium heavy would be really good for it. But if you're not, I mean, I haven't thrown an A-rig in a long time. I mean, it's probably been 7 years. But depending on how big a rod you actually want and how big a bait you're throwing, any of those, all of our series that carry 7.6 and 7.11 or the 7.9 and the KS2 Elite, something like that, any of those rods in the heavy action are going to be really good for those A-rigs, depending on how big a rod you're wanting. I know that when we first started, we were throwing 5-inch Bastrix on them with half-ounce heads. You'd have to have a really big 7.9 or 7.11 flipping stick to do that. But if you're, like the Flash Mob Juniors and the smaller A-rigs now, if you're putting grubs and stuff on them, you don't need a big, huge rod, just a 7.6 heavy, normal flipping stick, usually what people go to with that.
Yeah, I threw it a lot when I lived on Gunnersville when I was taking people out all the time, and at a certain time of year, if you're not throwing A-rig on Gunnersville, you're behind the 8 ball. So I threw mine on a 7.3 medium heavy most of the time, and I found that I caught a lot more fish because it had a little give to it. But I would throw 1/8 ounce heads on a Flash Mob Junior type. Yeah,
exactly. When you got those smaller baits and smaller heads, you go down to a 7.3 or something, and it's fine. But depending on the size of A-rig, we've got a rod for every situation there is. Tim asked about a frogging rod. I say, and that's something that varies with everybody. I like a big rod, but I got to throwing it on that 7.3 Canterbury Series last year a lot, unless I was really in some real thick mats, and I actually love that. It's a lot lighter rod, easy to work the bait in sparse vegetation. But if you're fishing like scummed over high driller or milfoil mats, I always prefer a bigger rod, and I always like the 7.6 Titanium series is the one I went with frogging when I was fishing in mats like that.
Right. Yeah, I'm same way with frog rod. If I'm fishing sparse vegetation, I would just soon fish a medium. That extra medium heavy is perfect for that because it has a little more
It
backbone.
is.
But you get in the mats like Gunnersville, someplace got thick mats. You got to get something to get them out of there. So I would suggest a heavy action rod for that. It still has enough tip to where you can work your frog. Um, so we had another question here about a spinning rod for a jerk bait. So, the
Yeah.
spinning rod in your series would work perfect for a jerk bait. And we have the KS2, which is a fantastic little 610 medium, and it would be great for a jerk bait as well. But, for a jerk bait, in my opinion, you want something that, is a little bit parabolic, but, has some tip to it so you can work that jerk bait. So I think that 610 KS2 and then the one in yours would work great for most jerk baits, I think. What do you think?
Yeah, no doubt. It would work really good for, a regular bigger size jerk bait would be good with mine. If you're just throwing a little bitty jerk bait or something, I'd like the KS2 a little bit more. It's got a little bit softer tip, like you was talking about.
That's right. That's right. So Tim says he's a short guy, so he can't go too long on rods. So I feel your pain, brother. I'm pretty short myself, and
7'3".
and Scott doesn't tower over me by a whole bunch, but I'm a pretty short guy. But on my frogs, I throw a 7-footer a lot in a medium heavy because I go to a 7-foot rod on a lot of things just because I'm more comfortable with it with my height. Especially if
That
I'm working.
7'3" in the Canterbury rod is super versatile. It would work great for that. I just prefer a little bit larger rod. I prefer the 7'3", but that's just me. But that 7-footer would work perfect for that.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, but one of the rods that's in your series that I get the most questions about. So I have them all over the place, and I get questions. I had a question. Matter of fact, Saturday I was at Gunnersville. I was at Waterfront at Gunnersville Tackle, and a guy picked up the 7.5 with the short handle, and he's playing around with it, and he said, "Man, this is a cool rod, but I don't get it." And I said, well, I explained to him, and you can explain it better because that was a rod that you were adamant that you wanted in your lineup, and it's a fantastic rod. It's just it looks a little different when you look at it, but it's an outstanding rod.
Yeah, I mean it does. It's got a 7.5 with a 9-inch handle, and it's not versatile at all. It's got one purpose really, and it's a perfect action for a jig rod, and pitching and flipping docks is what I use it for. I mean, I'll flip trees and everything with it, but if I've got a jig in my hand, that's usually the rod that I'm using if I'm pitching or flipping docks or anything like that. It's just a really good action and a little bit shorter handle. You don't need that big long handle getting. I mean, really and truly, that rod's a 7.5. But if you did real seat to real seat with any 7.6 on the market, you're about 2.5 inches longer than a 7.6 because you're taking it off the handle and putting it on the end of the rod. Gives you a little more leverage to land fish. I've used it a lot. I mean, made the top 10 at Gunnersville primarily with that rod in my hand. Made several cuts with that last year. I really, really, really like that rod, and it definitely plays a part in my arsenal all the time.
Yeah, me and you had a little difference of opinion in the beginning about that rod until you proved it to me, and it is a cool rod and it has a real purpose. And the people who have jumped off in it and got it really, really like it. And once you put a reel on that rod, it bounces out pretty good.
It does. It feels awkward when you pick it up in the store and you don't have a reel on it. When you get a reel on it and a bait on the end, it does really good. I mean, I'll use it all day. Never even worry about it. I mean, have any problems at all with it. A 2 or 3 ounce swim bait rod's going to be one that you're going to have to handle there because I've never thrown a swim bait that big.
I missed that one. Where is it? Oh, 2 to 3 ounce swim bait. So yeah, when I was on Gunnersville, we threw those. When I first moved to Gunnersville, that was the deal. The big hard swim baits, the big California deals, the Huddlestons and all that stuff. And, to me, you're going to have to go up to, you can throw that on like a 7.9 in the extra heavy in the KS2. You can use a heavy action. So we got some 7.6, 7.9 heavy rods. That's a strange one. So the deal with that one is you can go with a little bit lighter rod, but you got to understand when you cast that bait, you have to lob that bait. You can't load your rod because you're not going to get any accuracy with it. You just have to lob that bait. But that's something that I haven't had a lot of experience with. I did it when I first moved to Gunnersville until I figured out most of those fish like smaller baits than those big ones. I like to get bites instead of catching one. So, but I think you'd have to go with a longer rod with a little heavier action on that.
Definitely need a longer handle for those big swim bait rods.
Oh, yeah. So the spinner bait, to me, your 7-foot medium heavy would be perfect for that. That's what I would use for a 3/8 to a half-ounce swim bait. I don't know about you, but
that's it.
Yeah, and
yeah, that 7-foot rod is super versatile. I mean, you got to have a couple of them, and then if I get up to a big spinner bait like a 5/8 or 3/4 ounce spinner bait, I love that 7.3. I can step up to it and use it all the time for bigger spinner baits.
Right. So Cameron's wanting to know about about a finesse baits. 8 to 1/4. Yeah, you're about to gonna have to go to a spinning rod. So the spinning rod in the Canterbury series are really good, like shaky head rod. You can do a lot of things with it. You can go down to 8 you definitely can do that with that rod. We have the KS2s. We have spinning rods in every lineup. I would go if I was going down to 8, depending on what I was throwing, probably to a medium action. If I was going any lower than that, for sure would go to a medium action. But spinning rod's about where you're gonna have to be, or gonna have a hard time. I think we've answered all our questions. We're doing pretty good. I've been looking at Kate. I was wondering XG3 would be good.
That's a good question. We did a lot of testing and a lot of videos with the XD3s, the KS2s, and I like them all. I mean, they all really feel good. I guess it's a personal preference there. I mean, I really am fond. If I get out of my line, I'm really fond of those KS2s. I don't know. I mean, I like it. It's one I've used more, I guess. I like them all, but that's the one that I've used the most. I know we did some filming with the XD3s and super rods, really sensitive, felt great. Hook sets were good, had good backbone, and everything was great on those too. But I'm just fond of those KS2s a little more.
Yeah, I'm kind of partial to all of them, but I will tell you, we got some good ones in all of those lines. So, the new Black Widow is the HFX series. We added some new spinning rods in there as well. And they're all really good, but it just depends, on where your price point is. That XD3 for $99 will do just about anything you want to do. We got a rod that'll do just about anything. And the Canterbury series, we got everything you need in that as well. So I think it's what you want to spend on one. So I hope that answers your question.
I know tonight we're running giving live viewers a discount on the Canterbury series, so they'll be a little cheaper too. So that'll be something that they can take up.
That's right. Yep, they can take that and go to the website, and I believe it's a 20% discount on that, if I remember right. So
20% off of $129 rod. All the rods are $129. So I mean, it's really, that's one thing that you and Justin both helped me out with, because we could have built. Justin said we can build whatever you want. If I wanted $250 rods or whatever, but I always wanted to hit that price point. I wanted rods that were really good, that I was comfortable and felt good about using, but I also wanted to be that price point that everybody could afford, from the high school fishermen. I mean, where they can get them in their hands, just get them in more people's hands that way.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, and it's a great rod for that price. And I mean, you got Scott Canterbury on the Elite Series using them. I mean, it's a tool that can be used anywhere. I mean, from the weekend angler to the professional angler, and they do a great job for sure.
Yeah. Somebody asked about my flipping setup. I mean, I'm a big jig guy. I mean, I really like flipping a jig. I got a Canterbury Signature Series jig from Dirty Jigs Tackle. Probably my go-to for most things. They've got other jigs that I use as well. But if I'm just starting out flipping, it would be a half-ounce jig with just a regular pocket chunk on the back of it, hooked on it. And if the water's cold like it is now, I mean, I don't like something with a lot of action. Sometimes I have been playing a lot with that dagger, threading it on and using it for my trailer. So, just messing around with different trailers and stuff. But 1/2 ounce jig, probably black and blue or green pumpkin, something standard with, either the dagger or a pocket chunk on the back of it. 20-pound line, 17 to 20-pound line on my rod is what I always use.
Yeah. So Cameron says, the price points are perfect, and the warranties, we stand behind our stuff, and that's just something I want to touch on because we do stand behind our stuff. We believe in what we have. We've worked hard on it, and we stand behind our products. And we don't have many warranties, so we don't have to do it very often. So we definitely stand behind what we make.
I'm sure some people's had a problem or two with mine, but out of all my buddies that use them and I use them, I don't know of one failure out of the Canterbury Signature Series, right? And that's something that I give you a lot of credit for. I know you had a lot of work going into that, figuring out the components and everything. And it's more about me with just getting the feel and the action that I want. But getting those components right has a lot to do with it, making a good rod.
That's right. Hey, so I think like Nicholas is maybe working with one of your competitors. He's wanting to know if you threw your spinnerbait rod in practice. Maybe one of your competitors asked him to ask that question because they want to know what you're throwing.
What's that now?
He said, "Did you throw your spinnerbait rod in practice?"
Yeah. I mean, that, like we talked about earlier, I use that 7 foot a lot for a spinnerbait, but if I get to a bigger spinnerbait or something I'm fishing a little bit deeper, I use that 7.3. So he's just trying to figure it out for me. What's the difference between the Widow Series and the Canterbury Series? Well, it's probably components more than anything. And like you hit on it a while ago, we have 6 casting rods and 1 spinning rod in my series. And a couple of them are really unique, and a couple of them are really, or all of them except for one is really versatile rods.
Yeah, so that's really the big difference is, so, one of the things that we did is like I said before, Scott and I worked together and we basically built the rods that he wanted, specifically what he wanted. So with the Black Widow series, we have a lot more rods to choose from in that. So we have them, I think there's now there's like 14 rods in the series. So, we have about twice as many rods as you do in yours. So we have a lot more actions. So that's a big difference, and some component difference. But to be honest with you, they're all really good components. Just you with stainless steel stuff, all of them have stainless steel, zirconium inserts. It's just you use a little higher end guides on some of them, but all of them are really good.
Yeah.
So I guess we answered the question. So, but yeah, I think we've covered most all the rods that you have there. So there's, we touched on the crankbait rods, great. The 610, very versatile. 7-footer is just, it's a great rod for just about everything. I mean, if you were going to go out, if I was going to recommend somebody that wants one rod to go fast with a casting rod, it would have to be a 7-foot medium heavy because you can do a lot of
have to be. The only thing you don't want to do, I mean, you can do just about everything with that rod. It's a little tough when you get into those light crankbaits and stuff. If you're going to be fishing, lighter crankbaits, balsa crankbaits, anything shallow like that, you want something a little softer, and it helps your presentation and it helps you feel the bait a lot more like the cranking rod. But I've always told everybody, and I mean, if I was teaching somebody how to fish, I would start out by getting them to fish a worm. Something that's easy, doesn't stay hung. You get to learn how to feel your bait and feel what the bait's doing. You know the difference when you're on the bottom and when it's not on the bottom. You know the difference when it's in grass or on rock. And you do that, and the best rod there is to learn is, a 7-foot medium heavy. It's the most versatile rod that you can have in your boat.
Yeah, no doubt. There's certain things that you would rather have another one for, but you can do a lot of things with it for sure. So if you're just going to go out there and buy one rod, that would be my suggestion to everybody would be it for bass fishing is a 7-foot medium heavy.
Most definitely.
How do you like being on Team SMC this year?
It's been good so far. They keep me up a little late at night sometimes. Scott works on tackle till about 11 o'clock every night, but it's been fun. We need to catch some fish. I got off to a little slow start this year, but I'm gonna turn it around. It'll be good. We're gonna finish it out, and it's gonna be fun. It's been good. I've ran with Scott. We've been to South Africa for Team USA. We've been to Mexico. We've got gold medals and silver medals. We've done a lot together. Being part of the SMC team this year has been really good.
Good deal. And we're proud to have you on our team as well. And you've done a lot for us, and, continue to. We get a lot of good knowledge from you. And, we're going to keep going with all of our stuff and getting the input from you guys that helps us build great products throughout all of our lines. So,
yeah.
we've about used up our time here. I could probably let you go and get your stuff ready for tomorrow. Get ready for this tournament.
Yeah, we're gonna get a lot of stuff ready. Change up a few things, maybe get a little bit finesse fishing tomorrow, and see if we can't figure out how to catch some of these big brown smallmouth out of here. This lake's got them, and you're gonna have some brown ones to win this week.
That's right. Yeah, I'm imagining
size limit though. It's not real easy to catch them.
Yeah. So, but good deal. So, I appreciate you taking time out of your practice and getting on here with us and kind of answering some questions for these guys. And, we'll do it again. We'll do it again soon and get all the questions. If we missed anybody, we apologize, but we've kind of used up our time here. And, good luck, Scott. We'll be watching you this week.
Appreciate it.
And,
I don't know. I don't even know. If we gave the discount code for the rods or whatever? But anyhow, I know that we got one for rods for people that watch tonight. There it is at the bottom.
Yep.
And it's 20%. It's 20% off on the Canterbury rods for live listeners.
So
usually we do 15, but we're doing 20 tonight.
Yep. So you go to the website there, place your order, and get you some of these good rods. And maybe I'm still fishing with them, trying to get as good as Scott, but one day I'm gonna get there.
I learned from y'all. We're looking forward to fishing, and we'll do it again for sure. Anytime y'all want to do it, we'll make it happen.
All right, Scott. Well, I thank you, and I thank everybody for your good questions. And just go out there and go to AmericanBaitWorks.com. Look at all of our products out there. Check out all the rods, all the baits, and we'll do this again soon.
Thanks a lot, guys. See ya.
All right, thanks.